Oh hey, I'm wearing different glasses now. I don't know, I just felt like it. You know, it's honestly really cool that you can make a different version of yourself whenever you want, but you don't want to do that, so a bunch of other people do that instead. But they did it in a different name so that you can't sue them from copying you or your idea. So now a lot more people praise them instead of you because all you've been doing is just remaster a bunch of games that are barely a year old. Oh, sorry, it's just the glasses. I meant defamation.
I love the Soulsborne franchise, which is ironic because you haven't seen me play any of their games yet, and I will continue that tradition because some fans have gotten incredibly desperate, especially with the release of a new Souls game that initially looked like a sequel to Bloodborne, but it isn't actually a sequel to Bloodborne despite this game having the word blood in it. But why is Bloodborne so important? Well, it is one of the best Souls games From Software has ever developed, and it has been nearly a decade since its release, and we haven't gotten any new content from the game to this day. No sequel, no title updates, nothing. This is because Bloodborne is a PlayStation exclusive title, so it makes sense that so many fans are angry at Sony for not continuing one of their most popular exclusive franchises. Instead, we keep getting remasters of games that were released in the current generation of gaming. Since then, fans couldn't take it anymore and decided to make their own Bloodborne. One of the most popular complaints about Bloodborne is that it runs on 30 frames per second. I've had worse. This is one of the main reasons why fans wanted a PC port of Bloodborne, so that they could adjust the game and make it look smoother and better. Sony releases PC ports to their exclusives at least a year after they were released, so why didn't Sony release one for Bloodborne? I've seen worse. So with that, the fans replied,
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'ma do my own thing.
Bloodborne PSX is a PS1 remake of Bloodborne that released back in 2022. The remake only contained the first few sections of Bloodborne and was removed online by a copyright takedown notice by Sony recently this year. However, the creators of the remake made another Bloodborne-like title with the same graphics but with different gameplay. This title was originally named Bloodborne Kart, but since Sony grew suspicious during the development of this game, the developers renamed the game to Nightmare Kart. As the name implies, it's a Mario Kart parody with the same graphics as the PS1 remake of Bloodborne. The entire setting of the game is obviously ripped out of Bloodborne, but because of copyright issues, they renamed a lot of stuff here, including the characters themselves. So without further ado, let's play Nightmare Kart. Here you can either play the campaign or free play mode, and it's weird that this game doesn't even have a multiplayer, given that Mario Kart is well known for having a chaotic multiplayer experience. Even if this game had multiplayer, I wouldn't even play it because what intrigues me most about this game is the story. Given that it's just a small game, the entire story content from the actual game will have to be cut. So hopefully the story will still be as interesting or deep as the actual story. But before we begin, we have to name our hunter. I tried to name him John Bloodborne, but there was a character limit, so meet John Blue. We get a little tutorial teaching us the controls of the game. Now I have played Mario Kart before, and let me tell you that the controls act quite similarly. The biggest difference here is the buttons you use to drift and use items. In the Mario Kart games, you drift using the right bumper and use items with the left bumper. In this game, both of these buttons switch functions. It might not sound much, but this was a huge change from the Mario Kart gameplay. Throughout my entire playthrough, I had a hard time trying to adjust to this change, and I kept getting confused about which button was which. But enough of that, there are also some new features here such as a health and stamina bar. The health bar is pretty self-explanatory, but the stamina bar, however, is basically your limit of how much boost you can use. By pressing the X button, you get a short boost, much like the mushrooms from Mario Kart. Each boost requires 5 ether vials, which you can replenish by drifting or using a specific item. To increase your speed, you need to increase your blood droplets, which function similarly to the coins in Mario Kart. And then we move on to the items. Most of the items here basically damage other racers' health. You can either get a pistol, a machine gun, a melee weapon, a blue shell, a landmine, a healing item, or an item that grants more ether vials. If you lose all of your health, you'll have to wait for the respawn, and you'll also lose any items and total blood droplets that you had. After each racer level, you will be rewarded with insights. I still honestly don't know what these actually do. Anyway, let's head on over to the story.
The hunter wakes to a misty dream, surrounded by a host of peculiar characters.
Aha! You must be the new participant. I am Herman, and this is Onette, my animated servant who tends to my every need. You must be confused, but try not to think too hard about all this. Just go out and win a few races, and it'll all be over before you know it.
Pocket Dream Circuit.
Welcome to Baby Park for Adults. Actually, wouldn't it be called Adult Park instead?
After learning the rules of the road, the hunter embarks on their journey through the city of Mirablo in search of answers. A fellow outsider, one who claims to have vast knowledge of the cursed city and its inhabitants, beckons through the hazy pen of a dimly lit window, and warns that the hunt is on tonight, and that the first race is soon to begin.
Miralodia Expressway.
So what you're seeing
is advanced warfare.
So as you can see, the levels here are structured in a way that's similar to how you would normally progress through Bloodborne. Right now, we're in I can say that. Right now, we're in Miralodia, and this is supposedly the first area in the game before fighting the second boss. How do I know that? I've seen that guy somewhere many times before.
With their first taste of victory, the hunter sets their sights on the Mirablo underground and descends into the grimy abysses.
Miralodian Sewer Arena.
Team Bloodbath.
Shut up, clock it and load up.
The hunter emerges from their scrape in the cesspit and steals into the Angel Graveyard, grounds located on the city outskirts named after great beings of worship. There, in the shadow of Mirablo Devia's towering visage, they encounter a blood-spattered hunter atop a roaring motorcycle. The merciless Father Gregory bears his hunter axe and launches into battle.
Can you hear them? The snarls of filthy beasts. Beasts who must be hunted. Beasts must be slaughtered. It's only a matter of time until you become one.
You won't get away like before, Father Father Gregory. That was illegal, by the way. Welcome to the first boss of the game, and somehow the hardest fight in the game because I suck at the controls in this game. This type of game is just not designed for boss fights like this. And look at this, we're just chasing each other's tails in a circle. I thought that one boss from Mortal Shell was stupid. This is just on par with that. Like true old Dark Souls fashion, of course there's a second phase, which surprisingly is much easier than the first phase because the boss is just standing out in the open begging to be killed.
Having bested the Keeper of the Nightmare, the hunter returns to the misty dream seeking answers about the architect from the beings that first initiate the truth of this nightmare, and the means to escape it lies in the old clock tower, just beyond the fetid den of slithering serpents of Forbidden Forest.
Forbidden Forest.
Lost deep in the forest, the hunter aimlessly roams. In their fear, they make a dreadful revelation: the serpents have started to speak.
What's this? A lonely hunter lost in the woods. Trying to get to the old clock tower, are you? Lost little hunter thinks knowledge will be found there. Rummaging around that decrepit old tower will only upset her. Oh, yes, and we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't be able to have any fun with you if you go off and get killed by her now, would we? How about a little game? Defeat the three of us, and we'll show you the way.
Forbidden Forest Arena.
Capture the insight.
Welcome to the worst level in the game. I know this level is introducing you to a new game mode, which is basically capture the flag, but it's a 1v3. The chances of the enemy getting the goal before you are high. Since there are 3 of them, they can spread out and get to the goal faster than you. And you are on your own at this level. You don't have any allies or anything. I just barely won by a hair because one of the enemies is in the far back, camping the goal to respawn while the others swarm around me like a bunch of flies. What were they thinking?
The 3 horse, having been defeated, led the way to the Great Clock Tower, a citadel housing the secrets of Hunter's past. Unbeknownst to the hunter, a strangely familiar figure lies in the wait.
Some knowledge should be left forgotten. Oh, I know very well. The sweet sounds of secrets whispered in your ear. There is only one cure for a hunter as intoxicated as yourself.
Nicholas. The name echoes in the hunter's mind until acknowledge that the hot lady spoke of. Perhaps this Nicholas could unlock the answers to this nightmare. Armed with this information, the hunter begins their return journey to the city of Miraglodi. Yet to find him, although the trip will be fraught with danger, a friendly face soothes the nerves.
Oh, what do we have here? A hunter conscripted against their will. How amusing, with that arm of yours. Trying to make your way back into Miraglodi proper. Be warned, as the city sinks deeper into the darkest umbra of the night, the beast within will offer no quarter. But enough talk. Take this. You will not be able to re-enter without a proper fight.
Angel Arena.
Shut up, clock in and load up.
Parts ways with the Raven and returns to central Miraglodi. As the darkness of the night seeps into every corner of the cursed city. The search for Nicholas will have to wait. There are beasts that need to be culled. The perfect top for a hunter.
The hunt.
The hunter seeks out the ever-helpful Cider, whose knowledge of the cursed city could help him locate Nicholas at the pane of his window is dark, and in his abode lurks abominations of the night.
Outsider's Mansion.
After consulting Insider's directory, the hunter travels to Miraglodi, a college, where Nicholas is said to dwell. What they find within may only raise more questions.
Ah, yes. The architect. Do you not hear our pleas? We should not awaken from this nightmare. You cannot stop us. You cannot catch us.
Welcome to one of the worst bosses in Soulsborne history, Fortunately, this isn't Bloodborne anymore, so this fight isn't as annoying as the original. Trapping Nicholas was easy, and the fight was pretty much a breeze as well. I thank the developers of this game for turning one of the worst fights in any Souls game into one of the best levels in this game, specifically because I feel so much pleasure beating the shit out of this guy for making me run in circles in Bloodborne. Again, thank you developers.
Having bested the Keeper of the Nightmare, the hunter returns to the misty dream seeking answers about the architect from the beings that first initiated the hunter, only to find preparations underway for the final race as the false reality, that is, the dream, begins to collapse.
Pocket Dream Course!
As the night comes to a close, the hunter confronts her man about the truth behind the dream and its architect, but the old man had something different in mind. Herman, alongside all the other participants encountered during this dream, gather for one final hunt, one final battle, where only one hunter will remain standing.
Pocket Dreamfield!
Last hunter standing.
We now enter the final level of the game, where you have to be the last one standing. Surprisingly, all of the other racers did the job for me and killed everyone else, so that was underwhelming.
Kind Hunter, here we stand at the end of this nightmare. The denizens of the dream, with their silly customs, have attempted to use you to further their own selfish goals. But your role in this is greater than anything you could have imagined. Kind Hunter, I offer you freedom. Freedom from this nightmare. Do you accept?
The truth has been revealed. The city of how many fucking times do I have to pronounce this shit? The race, the nightmare. It was all born from an ancient yearning to make contact with angels, cosmic beings beyond our understanding. Now, at the end of this terrible dream, what the waifu offers to free you from this nightmare, do you accept?
So now we get to choose which ending we want to pick. I chose the submit life ending because I wanted to see if it was the good ending. It was the good ending. The refuse ending was definitely the bad ending, but there is also a third secret ending, which you can get by collecting 3 hidden items, each one found in a different level. This is what some people in the community consider the true ending. In this ending, you get to face the actual final boss, Miralodia, in an awesome fight arena. Defeat him and you'll get a very obscure ending. This is like Bloodborne. So that was Nightmare Card. Honestly, I had a really great time playing this game, though even at the end, I was still not used to the drift button being switched with the item button. It still felt weird, but overall the gameplay was pretty smooth and the items felt well balanced. However, I do wish there were more variety with the items. Instead of adding more weapons that deal damage, maybe add some items that can slow people down or steal their items. This game definitely takes inspiration from Mario Kart, so maybe the developers should try to add some items from there in their upcoming DLC, which will be arriving very soon. The story itself is pretty straightforward, given that this is basically a shortened version of the story in Bloodborne, but what bugs me most is that there's an absolute lack of a multiplayer mode. Technically, there is multiplayer, but you can only do that with your friends. There's no online multiplayer here, so hopefully when it comes, you don't have to pay the DLC to buy it and just add it into the game as a free update. This is an indie game after all, so the chances of doing the former are quite possibly low. Hopefully.
Wait a minute. I could have just changed the controls this whole time? What the hell's wrong with these glasses?